President Trump arriving in Saudi Arabia for the first leg of his trip to the Middle East. In just the last few minutes, we've now seen him shaking hands with Elon Musk, NVIDIA's Jensen Huang, Ray Dalio is there, also Palantir's Alex Karp. He was greeted on the airport tarmac in Riyadh.
That's breaking
by
MBS,
yeah. The Saudi Crown Prince. Meanwhile, the Saudi U.S. Investment Forum, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent hailed progress in the U.S. trade talks with China.
I think what we were able to establish as President Trump and the administration began the tariff program, we had a plan, we had a process, and what we did not have with the Chinese was a mechanism. So the Vice Premier and I now call this the Geneva mechanism to prevent any misunderstandings.
And we've got some additional news now on the thaw in U.S.-China relations following the weekend trade breakthrough. Bloomberg now reporting that Chinese officials have told domestic airlines they can resume taking deliveries of Boeing jets. Those had been paused amid tariff tensions. Another development, a White House executive order saying that the U.S. will cut the so-called de minimis tariff on low-cost shipments from China that help sustain businesses like Qian and Temu. Those tariffs had been ramped up to 120%, but they're going to come down now to 54% starting tomorrow, plus a $100 flat fee. We're going to talk a lot more about what all of is going on between the U.S. and China with U.S. Trade Rep Jamieson Greer, and that's going to happen, an important conversation in the next hour.
I think they wanted you to mention that that was Sam Altman.
Yeah, there's a receiving line that's taking place between President Trump and Sam Altman.
Right
MBS.
then.
But, yeah,
Sam Altman was there just a moment ago.
There's the publisher of the L.A. Times, right there, having a conversation with both of them. By the way, I was going to say Scott Bessent, I think, was in conversation with Dina Powell this morning.
Did have a conversation,
I believe that was the...
Maybe Roger Altman, too.
I think was potentially on the stage. So a whole bunch of folks who obviously made it off there.
I thought they said
Sam Altman.
I think we were referring
Altman.
to Sam Altman, who's out there, who's obviously raised an enormous amount of money in the Middle East recently on behalf of OpenAI.
And Trump's trying to raise $1 trillion. And even the $600 billion that MBS already promised is at $60 oil. They're going to run it sounded quaint, they're going to run a $70 billion deficit. It's quaint. It's like $70 billion.
Right. And by the way, we should mention that's Patrick Soon-Shiong, who's in conversation right now, who made became a billionaire in the medical industry, then bought the L.A. Times.
Right.
Been a bit of a firestorm around the L.A. Times
cleaned it up
recently,
a little bit, actually, to cover both sides of the aisle.
Over some of the politics, and here he is in conversations with both of these.
What a concept to present both sides. It's a big step for the L.A. Times and any newspaper nowadays.